You built 847 decks, 42,000 slides. PowerPoint became your second language. Excel became your first. The recommendations were brilliant. The formatting was flawless. The insights were devastating. Not one of them changed anything. The folders multiplied. Q2, strategy. Q3, optimization. Q4, transformation. The names changed. The content didn't. The problems persisted. The consultants kept flying. You lived in airports. Terminal became more than a word. It became a state. Gate C, Gate D, gate wherever pays the rate. You stopped remembering cities. You started recognizing carpet patterns. The Marriott in Dallas had the same art as the Marriott in Denver. You'd stared at both long enough to memorize the brushstrokes. The decks promised transformation, digital revolution, operational excellence, synergistic optimization. The words were different. The meaning was identical. Nothing will fundamentally change, but we'll charge you to pretend it might. Slide 47 of Deck 238 contained the solution. The actual solution, the thing that would have saved the company 3 years and $40 million. You knew it. The data proved it. The analysis was irrefutable. The executive nodded. Great work. Really insightful. We'll circle back on this. Deck 238 joined Deck 237 inches, the strategy folder. The strategy folder lived on a SharePoint nobody checked. The SharePoint lived on a server farm in Virginia. The insights died in air-conditioned darkness. You billed $847 per hour. You worked 96 hours that week. The math was beautiful. The impact was zero. The client renewed the contract. You built Deck 239. The presentations became performance art. You learned to read the room. Slide 12 always lost them. You added an animation. Slide 12 kept them awake long enough to reach slide 13, where you lost them again. The recommendations were urgent, critical path items, must-haves for survival. The implementation timeline said Q3, then Q4, then next fiscal year, then pending further analysis. You analyzed the analysis, consulted on the consulting, strategized about the strategy. The decks became recursive. Slide 67 recommended hiring consultants to implement the recommendations from slide 34. You were slide 34's consultant. You'd be slide 67's consultant too. The airports blurred. Your spine curved to match the airline seat, permanently. Row 12A became your home address. The flight attendant knew your drink order. You'd forgotten your partner's. Deck 492 was your masterpiece. 187 slides. 4 appendices. The research took 11 weeks. The insights were revolutionary. The client presentation lasted 23 minutes before the CFO's phone rang. Can we skip to the recommendations? You skipped to slide 173. The recommendations were the same recommendations from Deck 147 and Deck 289 and Deck 356. The problems never changed. The solutions never changed. The implementation never happened. Your team was brilliant. Harvard, Wharton, Stanford. They spoke 4 languages. None of them were honest. You built decks about efficiency while billing hourly. You recommended headcount reduction while expanding your team. You preached agility from a 40-page slide deck that took 6 weeks to approve. The irony was measurable. You measured it in Deck 681. The findings were damning. You recommended the client examine their consultant dependency. They agreed. They hired you to build the examination framework. You became the problem you were paid to solve. The decks documented it, slide by slide, quarter by quarter. Nobody read far enough to notice. Your body kept score. The airport sushi stopped sitting right. Then the airport salad. Then anything that wasn't antacids and resignation. Your doctor said stress. Your therapist said burnout. Your managing director said Malaysia next Tuesday. You built Deck 712 on the flight. The turbulence made formatting difficult. The passenger next to you asked what you did. You said you helped companies transform. You believed it for almost 3 seconds. The transformation never came. The decks kept coming. The problems stayed identical. The solutions stayed ignored. The consulting stayed profitable. Deck 847 was your last. Not because you quit, because you'd finally automated yourself. The AI could build the decks faster. The insights were equally ignored. The clients couldn't tell the difference. You'd spent 12 years becoming replaceable by an algorithm that cost $47 per month. Your farewell was slide 891 of someone else's deck: organizational restructuring, efficiency, optimization. Your position was redundant. The word felt surgical. You'd used it in 143 decks. You'd never felt it. They gave you the folders, all 847 decks, all 42,000 slides, everything you'd built, everything that changed nothing. The files were 3.2 gigabytes. Your career compressed to less space than a movie. You searched for impact, tried to find one deck that mattered, one recommendation that shipped, one insight that changed anything. Deck 238, slide 47, the solution that would have saved everything, still there, still brilliant, still unread. The consulting firms still fly. The decks still multiply. The insights still die in folders. The problems stay the same. The only thing that transforms is the consultant into someone who can't remember why they started, can't remember what they believed, can't remember anything except the carpet pattern in Terminal C. Doctors call it the deck without impact syndrome. The condition where you've produced so much that meant so little, you forget what meaning feels like. The case studies are taught at business schools now, right before they recruit the next generation, right before they teach them PowerPoint. You still dream in slide decks. The animations never end. The recommendations loop forever. You wake up formatting. You can't stop formatting. Even your thoughts come with bullet points now. The decks are still there. The folders are still growing. The problems are still unsolved. And somewhere, someone is building deck 848. They think this one will be different. They think this one will matter.